Good evening, everyone. It's great to see all of you here with us this evening. I'd now like to invite you to stand as we welcome the recipients of the 2025 Global Pluralism Award to the stage. Je vous invite à vous lever pour accueillir sur scène les lauréats du Prix mondial du pluralisme 2025. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for Princess Zahra Aga Khan of the Board of Directors of the Global Center for Pluralism, the Honourable Anita Anand, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Marwan Mouasher, Chair of the Award Jury, and Ms. Meredith Preston McGee, the Center's Secretary General. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je vous invite à rester debout pour accueillir la Princesse Zahra Aga Khan, membre du Conseil d'administration du Centre mondial du pluralisme, l'honorable Anita Anand, ministre des Affaires étrangères, Monsieur Marwan Mouasher, président du prix du jury, et Madame Meredith Preston McGee, secrétaire générale du Centre. Please take your seats. Veuillez vous asseoir. I would also like to welcome all those of you who are joining us online. Je tiens à souhaiter la bienvenue à toutes les personnes qui se joignent à nous en ligne. You know, when the viewers of CTV National News stop me on the street, more often than not, they tell me how they appreciate the work of our team, for which I am deeply, deeply grateful. The next thing they sometimes say is that I look better on TV than in real life. And for that, I'm also grateful, because you need people in life to keep you humble. But then they will also want to discuss the state of the world. Heavy, divided, fractured are the words they will often use. And true, the world right now is all of those things, but I tell them this. In my nearly 2 decades of reporting, I've noticed that even in a world that sometimes appears dark, there are countless examples that speak to the light of humanity across the world. I've seen it in Indonesia, when a father who'd lost his own children in an earthquake told me he still wanted to help his neighbors search for theirs. I've also seen it on the ground in Ukraine, where even in bunkers, neighbors sang and played games with children to give them a sense of normalcy in the chaos of war. And it's a light I see within Canada's own borders, my own family, the beneficiaries of this country's incredible generosity and kindness when they were expelled from their homeland more than 50 years ago. And ultimately, celebrating the building of bridges is what tonight is all about. Not only a capacity we all have, but it's also an obligation I truly believe in. To begin, let's turn our attention to a short film now introducing the members of the Global Pluralism Award International Jury. Pour lancer la soirée, commençons sans plus tarder par une courte vidéo qui présente les membres du jury international du Prix mondial du pluralisme.
Well, I think the question of pluralism today is probably more important than it's ever been.
I think in a context of closing civic space, pluralism is absolutely quintessentially important.
To me, pluralism is about belonging to the human family.
It is the appreciation and acceptance of diversity. It is acknowledging that diversity is a source of strength and not weakness.
We have been needing this for a very long time, and we have not given much attention and focus as to how we build a more integrated global society.
Cô sẽ chăm tụ nó skurs på nätet tung dak to je. Zes näs ko ha ide chung gott ko tisjuk på det. Och ko dak maje dak mkhut ha khan ma ein tga checha khan ma ein på näden tun tap ha du et na ruinet på nan maje näden ko shun pun chun pun check pun modia matsk näden tga checha ka to gadom hai.
I think the idea of recognizing efforts to bring the different perspectives together, not to deny difference.
Each of the organizations will really give you a sense of how pluralism is such a diverse ecosystem with different approaches to different issues that are really representative of different geographies around the world.
Any person in their daily life can look to try to have a conversation with someone that they don't agree with. You can do this in your own community in small ways.
Everyone can practice some form of pluralism if they just listen, see, and learn.
I'm pleased to welcome the Secretary General of the Global Center. We can all clap. And now I'm pleased to welcome the Secretary General of the Global Center for Pluralism, Ms. Meredith Preston McGee, who will now offer a land acknowledgement followed by opening remarks. J'ai le plaisir d'inviter la secrétaire générale du Centre mondial du pluralisme, Madame Meredith Preston McGee, à procéder à la reconnaissance du territoire et à prononcer le mot d'ouverture.
Thank you, Omar. Minister Anand, Excellencies, distinguished guests, and friends of the Center, I'm delighted to welcome you on behalf of the Global Center for Pluralism to the 5th Global Pluralism Award Ceremony. This year we welcome 10 new laureates who will join 40 before them for a total of 50 pluralism leaders that we have recognized over the last 10 years. Je suis ravie que vous êtes ici avec nous ce soir pour célébrer et honorer les lauréats du Prix mondial du pluralisme. Tonight is a celebration of pluralism in action, and we're honored to be hosting it, as per tradition, in the exquisite atrium of the Ismaili Amamat delegation. And thank you again for the beautiful hospitality that we always enjoy in this space. And here we are gathered as guests on the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. The Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation are the customary guardians of this land, of the watershed of the Kichisibi and its tributaries. And this land has been a site of both gathering and connection, as well as violence and dispossession of the first peoples of this land. Many of our award laureates are intimately familiar with the importance of land, who has the right to make decisions over its use, and the pain of separation from land that they are deeply connected to. And we seek, through our commitment to pluralism, to honor the original spirit of gathering that the Algonquin Nation has stewarded in this area for so long. And we take action to build societies in which people experience belonging in the fullness of who they are. So on behalf of the Global Center for Pluralism, His Highness the Aga Khan and the Board of Directors, it is my honor to offer tobacco to Shirley Tully, Knowledge Keeper of the Kitigan-Zibi First Nation, for her to provide the welcome blessing. Shirley, please.
Good evening, everyone. Kichimigwech for the introduction, Meredith. As First Peoples of the land, First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people have lived, worked, and were historically stewards of the land in their respective territory. Acknowledging the land is a formal statement for visitors to express respect and to recognize the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous people and their traditional territories as caretakers of their ancestral lands. It is considered a first step in building a relationship with the first peoples of the land in the spirit of reconciliation. And my people, the Algonquin or the Anishinaabe, are the customary keepers and defenders of the Ottawa River watershed and its tributaries. And as the host nation, we welcome many visitors to this beautiful territory. Kwekakna kisina agwajin keget nungum, shwen mishim nungum chimano wabamak, chimano nanduduak, chimano ganuduak, kishemanido. Kichimi gwech kishemanido onje ki, migwech onje awesi sag, migwech onje kakinagego, kayemi jim, ashidnibi, ashidishkude, migwech onje kakina eteg, migwech onje namarazuin, migwech onje nishomisag, kokamisag, kakina nindodemeg, migwech onje gizis, the big gizis, kaye anagshuk. We dokawashandash kishemanido, miya. I just acknowledge our Creator with the words of my people and offered thanks for the plants, the air, the trees, the 2- and 4-legged animals, the fish, and all living things. I also gave thanks for Mother Earth and for everything that has been put upon her to sustain life. Fire to keep us warm to cook our food, and water to keep us well hydrated. I also offered thanks for Father's Sky, Grandfather Sun, and Grandmother Moon, the stars, the planets, the universe, and lastly, especially for our families. I finished by asking our Creator to continue to guide us all so that we can learn and share knowledge with each other in a good way. Surely toli ni dishtakas kirigansi bin dojiba na menwenda men kishi kirian pija je gonjima nungum anishnabe aking. Kichimigwach. I'm very honored and happy to be here with all of you tonight. And on behalf of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation Tribal Council, our chiefs and our nation, I bring you all warm greetings, and I welcome you all to unceded, unsurrendered Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory. Our nation consists of 7 communities: Picogan, Kitchisakik, Kibawak, Lac-Simon, Long Point, Kitigan-Zibi, and Apeti and Anishinaabe, formerly Wagushig. And all of these are found on the Quebec side of the river. The Algonquin territory covers a vast area connected by rivers and tributaries, and my ancestors traveled all around this area to hunt, to trap, to travel, to harvest food when it was that time of year, and to trade goods since time immemorial. I am the elected women's representative for the nation. And as a matter of fact, we're going through the electoral process right now. So anyway, keep my fingers crossed. I was also elected to represent the Quebec Native women in October of 2022. And now I'll speak a bit of French. Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Shirley Tolé et je suis née et j'ai été élevée de ma communauté de Kitigan-Zibi-Anishinaabe. Et je me sens très chanceuse et bénie d'avoir le meilleur des deux mondes. Ma vie dans une communauté comme Kitigan-Zibi et ma vie urbaine ici sur notre territoire ancestral. So we're all gathered here tonight to honor the winners of the 2025 Global Pluralism Awards because of the inspiring and extraordinary work that they do in regions grappling with conflict and discrimination. It is my pleasure to be here to watch them receive their awards. So please join me in offering sincere congratulations to all the winners. Kichimi gwech kibijaya gonchima nungum onakshik angwam zindashishpin kigiwek kagawab menanage miye migwech.
Thank you, Shirley, for that beautiful blessing to begin our evening. Et merci à notre fois à vous tous pour être ici avec nous ce soir pour cette célébration, pour l'occasion de reconnaître le pouvoir d'un leadership positif dans ces temps difficiles. Because these are difficult times. This celebration reminds us that within difficulties, there are extraordinary opportunities. Those that we celebrate tonight are leaders that work against exceptional odds. They work against division, against pessimism, against polarisation, and against hate. Ils œuvrent pour l'humanité, pour le lien social et pour le pluralisme. Et ils font cela dans un certain endroit les plus difficiles du monde. And when I look at these extraordinary laureates and the themes that bind them together, there are a few that represent really at the core of what pluralism is and why it matters for us at this time of global challenge. The first of these is that they solve problems. They see things that need to change, and they tackle them with the conviction that positive solutions are possible. They build bridges. They address these challenges, difficult challenges, in a way that draws others in. They find ways of bridging divides that may otherwise feel impossible. And they practice hope as a discipline that these laureates embody in remarkable ways. But it is not hope alone. It is built on something deeply pragmatic. These laureates have a plan. They are advancing visions for their societies that inspire others because they are both hopeful and practical. They are rooted in the reality. They remind us that this work is done by extraordinary, ordinary people. That transformation doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from the sustained human-scale acts of courage, of reaching out, of finding our common humanity. Their work challenges us to step into our own communities, to speak to those we may prefer to avoid, to act when we see division. This is how pluralism happens. Voilà comment se produit le pluralisme. Amid our fragmented geopolitics, pluralism's foundations are more vital than ever. These examples spur us on to do more here at home and to support those doing this work around the world. Because pluralism is not a luxury for our peaceful times, it is a survival skill for our fractured ones. Pluralist leadership is not about erasing our differences, but creating conditions where difference can meet without destruction and build future possibilities. C'est un moment propice et c'est un moment d'action. Tonight, we celebrate the possibility embodied in these awardees' actions and the actions that all of us can commit to take. You will have received a pluralism question card when you arrive tonight on your seats. These questions are drawn from some of the openings for dialogue that the laureates tonight, our past laureates, and we at the Global Center for Pluralism use in our work. This is a preview of tools that we've been developing to help us all tackle tough topics and to lean into conversations we may have stopped having. So we hope that you will use these to initiate different conversations in your own spaces and to remind all of us that when we lead with understanding, when we push back against division and exclusion, we can build a society that we all want to live in. I want to just conclude tonight with one more special thank you before we turn to a video address from His Highness the Aga Khan. I wanted to especially thank and recognize Nimet and Riaz Ahmed, who are here with us tonight, and TD Bank Group for their incredibly generous and ongoing support to the awards. We really deeply appreciate you, so thank you. And again, to thank you all for being with us tonight. Un grand merci, Chi Miigwech, and we will now be viewing a video from His Highness the Aga Khan welcoming us this evening. Thank you.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Center's Board of Directors, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 2025 Global Pluralism Award Ceremony. Le Centre mondial pour le pluralisme a été créé pour aider les sociétés du monde entier à relever le défi de bien vivre ensemble en mettant les différences au service du progrès, de la prospérité et de la paix. Championing pluralism in our societies is not only the goal, it is the solution. Pluralism is a roadmap to bridging the schism between people and even institutions. Le prix mondial du pluralisme représentait, pour Feu mon père, une façon d'incarner ce type de leadership et de démontrer concrètement les bienfaits du respect de la diversité et de la reconnaissance de toutes sa valeur. En ces temps difficiles, le prix nous permet de dépasser les divisions et, inspiré par le travail des lauréats, de contribuer à un changement constructif au sein de nos propres sociétés. Often pluralism feels like a hard task, an almost unattainable ideal. But the beauty of the Global Pluralism Awards is that it shows us how ordinary people are making an impact on their societies every day in the face of huge challenges. These organizations, through ordinary actions, are making an enormous impact on their communities and engaging partners, often unlikely ones, to work together to solve the biggest issues of our time. Together, they are building movements that change global systems and norms. This is not always easy work, but its value can outlast us. Once we take time to listen to another who we see as different from ourselves, and we start to understand their story, we may find we have more in common than we thought, and our conception of we begins to expand. Ce soir, nous rendons hommage à ces 10 lauréats pour tout ce qu'ils accomplissent au quotidien pour donner vie au pouvoir transformateur du pluralisme. Les champs d'action, les régions et les démarches diffèrent, mais le principe qui guide leur engagement est le même. Il y a de la place pour que nous puissions tous et toutes bien vivre ensemble. This group of 10 joins a larger group of the 40 laureates who preceded them since the inception of the award, and a multitude of people who are pushing back against division and marginalization. We are each of us part of our global community, and as members of this community, we too are responsible for shaping it through our own behavior towards others. Je tiens à exprimer ma profonde gratitude aux éminents membres du jury, dont les parcours professionnels et personnels sont aussi riches que variés. I congratulate the jury chair, Dr. Marwan Washer, as well as its other members, Ms. Yesnaya Aguilar-Gill, Dr. Comfort Arrow, Ms. Rita Roy, Mr. Gam Shemray, Dr. Stephen Toop, and Mr. Antonio Zapula for their dedication and their inspired choices of awardees. As we congratulate and learn more about these exceptional laureates tonight, I invite you to think about what meaningful action you can implement in your own life. Each of our choices matters in the face of our global challenges. Merci aux lauréats, au Centre mondial pour le pluralisme, et à chacune et chacun d'entre vous ici ce soir pour votre engagement envers le pluralisme.
Inspiring words from His Highness. I am now pleased to welcome the Honourable Anita Anand, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Canada, to the podium to share remarks from the Government of Canada. J'ai le plaisir d'accueillir l'Honorable Anita Anand, Ministre des Affaires étrangères du Canada, qui prononcera une allocution au nom du gouvernement du Canada.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, honorable laureates, good evening, and thank you for inviting me here to share this special night with you. I wanted to start off with a little bit of a personal reflection by mentioning how welcome I feel whenever I'm with the Ismaili community. From the Stampede breakfast in Calgary, where families welcomed me with open arms, to conversations that flowed so easily in Vancouver and Toronto and on the East Coast. Wherever I am with this community, I feel the same thing, a community that leads with warmth and generosity and deep respect. Donc, c'est un honneur pour moi d'être ici avec vous ce soir pour avoir l'opportunité de féliciter les gens ici, mais aussi de partager le moment avec vous tous. I wanted to also acknowledge the long-standing partnership between Canada and the Ismaili Imamate and take a moment to recognize my dear friends, MP Talib Noor Mohammed and Dr. Ibu, for their immense contributions to ensuring that the values that we see and feel here this evening are indeed spread throughout our country and our world. Perhaps we could give them a round of applause. Together they, along with so many in the community and here on the stage with the center, have made sure that we know what pluralism looks like when it is lived rather than theorized. It's not abstract, it is human. It is the deliberate choice, as we heard from Meredith this evening. It's a deliberate choice to make space for one another with kindness and curiosity and courage. As His Highness, the late Aga Khan, has reminded us, pluralism is a value that must constantly be shaped and reinforced through education, dialogue, and practice. And so pluralism, we know, is more than diversity. It's more than tolerance. It's taking those values and ensuring that they are active, they are intentional, and that there's an ongoing effort to understand others and to uphold their dignity and to build societies where differences are not just accepted but valued. Ça, c'est le fait de la pluralisme, c'est la volonté de comprendre l'autre, de respecter ses différences et de bâtir une société où chacun trouve sa place, sa propre place, en fait. Pluralism, as His Highness has said, pluralism is not simply the absence of conflict, it is a presence of understanding. And so when Meredith was speaking just now about institutional pluralism, about the need to bring these ideas into the institutions of governance, including government, it's all I can do but to say, yes, yes, yes. Let's make sure that we bring those values, emulated by the laureates here on the stage, emulated by Meredith and the work you do, and Marwan as well, to the work that we are doing throughout the country in government and in governance. We know that Canada is home to one of the most diverse populations and that our communities throughout this incredible country are dynamic and strengthened, as I found out as Minister of Foreign Affairs, by international partnerships that run so deeply throughout communities but also extend all around the world. I want to simply say that pluralism itself is a national value and, in fact, a strategic asset. Et nous le voyons chaque jour, la diversité du Canada est une force et une responsabilité aussi. We gather here tonight at a moment when democracies everywhere are under strain. And the words that we heard earlier, the fractured world before us, heightens our individual and our collective responsibility to do more, to give more of ourselves, and to ensure that the tangible product at the other end is one that represents the values of respect, of diversity, of pluralism, and of tangible results for positive change. As Prime Minister Carney has underscored, pluralism remains a moral imperative and a strategic necessity. And I often talk when I'm inside and outside Canada about how our world is moving further and further away from multilateralism towards unilateralism and protectionism. And that is an opportunity for us to live and represent the values that these honourable laureates stand for each and every day in their work. So this year's Global Pluralism Award laureates actually show us what courage looks like in practice, by bridging divides, by protecting vulnerable communities, and by fostering dignity in places where trust has been frayed. Leur travail nous inspire et élargit les horizons de l'espoir. Donc, merci beaucoup à vous tous. Perhaps we can take a moment and recognize the laureates. And as I close, perhaps I will just say, let's continue to embrace our differences and amplify our understanding and work together towards a more peaceful and more inclusive future. Congratulations to the exceptional leaders that we are celebrating this evening, and hold this spirit of positivity and tangible change represented so well by the value of pluralism and the work of our laureates in your heart, in your hands, and in your mind. Thank you so much. Merci. Miigwech.
Minister Anand, thank you. Merci. It is my pleasure to begin the presentation of this year's 7 honorable mention recipients. We will start with a screening of short films that highlight the depth of their inspiring work. Permettez-moi maintenant de vous présenter les 7 titulaires des mentions honorables de cette année. Nous commencerons par la projection de courts-métrages qui mettront en lumière la portée de leur travail inspirant.
The change that we wanted to see was increased protections for at-risk artists.
There was a lack of organizations that provide direct immigration and resettlement services to international artists at risk who face persecution or censorship or displacement in their home country.
Even from abroad, artists can protect culture by countering official narratives and really showing that no government defines a nation's identity. Freedom of expression is a core pillar of democracy. Off of that, artistic freedom is just as, if not significantly more important, because it creates spaces for artists to critically think about the world that we live in and disseminate that information on a platform that's accessible to people.
Almost all the successes that I've had in the US, all the organizations, the open doors that I've had, were because AFI recommended me.
It feels like, yeah, they have my back, and like whatever happens, like they will be with me and they're my team. So it gives me a lot of energy to show my agency even more.
We can definitely see on the level of the individual artists that we work with just an increased sense of empowerment, a sense of ownership over not only their artistic practice and their ability to freely express their thoughts, but also the power of agency over their own experience.
Artistic freedom is not just important for artists, it's important for our ability to engage in thoughtful discourse.
There is a huge problem with poverty, which is transferred from generation to generation, and exclusion of one part of society. In Slovakia, and it is connected with Roma people especially. That was our dream, to break this vicious cycle of poverty and exclusion. My name is Pavel Hrica. I'm director of Cesta Von. Cesta Von means in English way out. The OMAMA program is about early childhood development. OMAMA is all traditional German, which means grandmother. We work with kids from 0 to 4 years age. We communicate with best experts in Slovakia and in the world how to raise kids in that age in several areas, and we discuss with those experts what kind of age-appropriate activities to challenge those kids.
A proste Cesta Von naozaj mi zmenila môj život, lebo poprvé mi dala prácu stabilnú. Dosť to zmenilo, lebo veľa žien, ktorí si prešli programom, tak vidím tú zmenu, že inak sa spravia k tým deťom.
Half of our work to change not only the situations in those poor communities, but also the attitudes of our public. So we created these personal connections, and so it changed not only people from poverty, but also those middle-class people. And I believe that these connections will change the whole society.
Pre lepší život je pre každého. A keď aj niekto nemá také zázemie, alebo sa nenarodí pod šťastnou hviezdou, treba tam ísť a treba pomôcť. Že proste toto by sa malo robiť všade, kde to potrebujú. Lebo tie deti za to nemôžu, kde sa narodia.
Mi nombre es Maritza del Carmen Yecha. Soy integrante de la Coordinadora Nacional de Mujeres Indígenas y como organización base de la Coordinadora Maya de Mujeres Quintana Roo. Lo que me inspiró a involucrarme en CONAMI fue la situación que veía en mi comunidad sobre el tema de la mujer y la violencia que se vivía en mi pueblo. He visto que nosotras las mujeres que integramos CONAMI, pues ha inspirado a muchas mujeres, ha empoderado a las mujeres de las diversas comunidades indígenas. CONAMI es una organización que está integrada por 18 pueblos originarios. Muchas veces nosotras las mujeres de las comunidades indígenas tenemos miedo a hablar, tenemos miedo a participar, y desde CONAMI nos dan esas herramientas para superar esas situaciones, ¿no? Y esto nos ha ayudado a fortalecernos para hacer diálogos. Mi abuela, por ejemplo, no tuvo la oportunidad de exigir sus derechos, ¿no? Porque éramos invisibilizadas, no nos reconocían, no nos daban esa voz para exigir nuestros derechos.
Uno de los más positivos y de manera personal es este reconocimiento de mi identidad como mujer maya. Lo que hemos construido tanto en CONAMI como en CONMAYA es un pensamiento colectivo de nuestra identidad como mujeres mayas. Hemos construido y hemos levantado y hemos trabajado con muchos temas que nos ayuda a fortalecer a otras mujeres, ¿no? Inspirar a otras mujeres para que sigan luchando por sus derechos.
Que a gente não faz as coisas para as pessoas com deficiência, a gente faz com as pessoas com deficiência.
Então, eu acredito que o que o Mais Diferença trouxe, ele potencializou isso. O que o professor já faz dentro da rotina de trabalho dele, com coisas do cotidiano, não precisa inventar a roda, você já faz isso, mas como é que você pode qualificar isso para garantir que todas as crianças estejam incluídas nesse processo?
Nós, desde o início, trabalhamos e escolhemos incidir para o fortalecimento das políticas públicas e dos marcos legais. A Mais Diferenças dialoga e incide com várias organizações que trabalham com direitos humanos. Então, por exemplo, organizações que trabalham com o direito à educação, mas o direito à educação das pessoas com deficiência ficava em separado, começam a assumir essa pauta. Organizações que trabalham com os direitos e trabalham a pauta de gênero, começam a pensar o que significa ser uma mulher com deficiência numa sociedade tão violenta, tão preconceituosa.
É o nosso dever formar essas pessoas e fazer essas pessoas compreenderem que não, as crianças com deficiência, elas não estão atrapalhando nada, é um direito delas estarem aqui, mas esse direito precisa ser garantido com dignidade.
ter lugar nesse mundo, e lugar não passivo, mas lugar que nos ensina outro jeito e outro modo de ser sociedade.
I grew up in war in Afghanistan. We had the factional fighting for a very long time. I witnessed how people were divided. We don't have any opportunity in Afghanistan, especially at the moment, to work. And this organization is actually challenging those barriers.
یوم کله چې تاسو د فرصتونو د انځنه لپاره بند شول نو زه د دې په لټه کې وم چې څنګه وکولای شم زه خپل کورنۍ ته او یا هم د خپل شخصي مصارف څنګه پوره کړم نو د دې په لټه کې وم چې داسې یو ځای پیدا کړم.
Our NGOs provide business education, jewelry training, gems cutting training, language training, so that once they graduate, we want them to be ready to do their business. We call them the neighbors, the community elders, the families to come and visit us. We show them the work, we show them the trust, the opportunity that we provide. We need to have a place where all these different diversities, we all come together, seeing all these women, working with each other, support each other, talk with each other from different ethnicity about their futures, about who they want to become. That's rewarding for me.
When civilians find themselves caught in conflict, help is often not coming. And if it's coming too late.
Nonviolent Peace Force is a global civilian protection organization working in 9 conflict zones worldwide.
All of our work is oriented towards relationships. So really taking the time to make sure that we have trust with communities, that our teams are built of folks with different perspectives. The majority of our staff comes from the communities where we are operating.
In the context of Nonviolent Peace Force in Mindanao, it was not easy to enter into that barrier of the culture of silence.
We are not imposing them to do this and do that, just facilitate the activity, and they're the one who's deciding what do they want to do to achieve the peaceful community.
Before, it was armed groups and armed forces from the government side, and a lot of casualties of the civilians. I want to see whether there will come a time when we are no longer talking about wars, but we are talking about development.
This is the first time that somebody reached out to them and asked them what are their needs. We are trying to build relationship.
Talking to all actors, even when it's hard, knowing that in order to have a peaceful future, we need to make sure that all people are included and engaged in that.
After the world, everything has been destroyed. The future, the dreams, and this was a light at the end of the dark spot. This world make a different humanitarian impact. We're talking about 25 million of Sudanese people suffering from hunger. Many of those bad things happen. This war impact our future. We bring youth to work together for just 2 objectives: how to achieve peace and how to achieve democracy.
عن الحريب أصواتنا هي اللي مفترض تظهر، بالذات أصواتنا نحن كنساء برضو مفترض تظهر، لأنه نحن أكثر ناس متضررين من الحرب اللي حصلت دي.
Warring parties try to divide civil society organizations like us. They bring thousands of Sudanese youth, Sudanese refugees, Sudanese inside different regions from different backgrounds, from political parties, youth from civil society, youth from resistance causes.
The idea of the network is making them understand that they don't have to involve in conflict to be heard. We are all as Sudanese, we deserve to live a better life. There is a new generation and they have to found a country to live on it, to achieve their dreams on it. Everyone deserves to dream.
Nous allons maintenant présenter chacune des 7 mentions honorables du prix mondial du pluralisme que nous invitons à s'avancer. Le président du jury, M. Marwan Mouacher, ainsi que Mme Meredith Preston-McGee, leur remettront leur certificat. We will now introduce each of the 7 honorable mention recipients of the Global Pluralism Award, who will be invited to step forward, and chair of the jury, Dr. Marwan Muasher and Ms. Meredith Preston McGee, will present their certificates. Artistic Freedom Initiative, représenté par Madame Ashley Tucker. Testavan, represented by Pavel Haritsa. Coordinadora Nacional de Mujeres Indígenas de México, représentée par Maritza del Carmen Yechan. Maíz Diferenzas, represented by Thais Martins. The New Life Trust Organization, représentée par Pippa Small. Nonviolent Peace Force, represented by Tiffany Eastholm. Sudanese Youth Network for Ending the War and Establishing a Democratic Civil Transformation, représenté par Mohammed Adam Jr. And there they are. Congratulations to all of the honorable mention recipients. Félicitations. And now I'm delighted to introduce the winners of the 2025 Global Pluralism Award. From Colombia, Colombia Diversa. From Israel and Palestine, A Land for All. And from Southern Africa, Southern Africa Litigation Center. Their work will be presented in 3 short films. J'ai maintenant l'honneur de vous présenter les lauréats du Prix mondial du pluralisme 2025. De la Colombie, Colombia Diversa. D'Israël et de la Palestine, A Land for All. Et de l'Afrique du Sud, the Southern Africa Litigation Center. Leur travail sera présenté par 3 courts-métrages.
Yo soy de un pueblo muy pequeño al occidente de Colombia que se llama Belalcázar Caldas. Es un pueblo muy conservador. Mi familia era una familia de principios y valores muy cristianos y católicos, y cuando yo decidí salir del closet fue muy difícil para ellos.
Estudié trabajo social en una universidad pública, la Universidad Nacional de Colombia, y ahí conocí el movimiento feminista. Ahí encontré como una teoría en la cual mi ser lesbiana encontraba también una explicación y encontré también una plataforma que me ayudaba también a defender mis derechos. Sí, la primera marcha se hizo aquí en el año 1983 y luego hubo un gran vacío hasta 1996. Éramos 50 personas, nos conocíamos todas sabíamos dónde estábamos, fuimos muy valientes y aquí estoy 20 años después con un equipo muy grande y creo que valió la pena, valió toda la pena. Colombia Diversa surge después de una serie de negaciones de proyectos de ley que reconocían derechos de las parejas del mismo sexo en el Congreso de Colombia. Es decir, añado muchos casos, hacemos asesorías legales, hacemos litigio estratégico, hacemos trabajo en redes con otras organizaciones, pero tenemos también una apuesta por el fortalecimiento de organizaciones a nivel local, porque la discriminación también se siente distinto en áreas rurales.
Este es un lugar seguro, es un lugar donde todas las familias, porque no solo se trata de la persona gay, lesbiana o trans, ¿no? También las familias son discriminadas. Así que sí hace muy interesante que desde los activismos y desde organizaciones tan importantes como Colombia Diversa se estén abordando los temas de espiritualización.
Entender que somos ciudadanos y ciudadanas como cualquier otro colombiano o colombiana y eso hace que estemos en el registro de la historia oficial. No es que no hayamos estado en la historia, lo que pasa es que estábamos en los bordes, estábamos en las historias paralelas, estábamos en lo que solo hablábamos entre nosotros. Pero esto va más allá, lo que necesitamos es realmente transformar la sociedad colombiana, prevenir la discriminación y que se restaure ese tejido social. Es decir, que las víctimas sientan que con ese reconocimiento de la verdad se sienten reparadas, sienten que el actor reconoció que las victimizó, reconoció que violó sus derechos, pero que está dispuesta a que esto no siga pasando.
Además lo tienen que resolver quienes tienen el conflicto en territorio, que son justamente las víctimas y los comparecientes a través del diálogo. Entonces sí, creo que ha sido muy potente la intervención de ustedes. Ustedes de alguna manera abrieron un espacio que no existía.
La forma en que las personas pueden comprometerse con el cambio es reconocer que las personas LGBTIQ+ estamos en sus vidas, que no somos esas personas que vamos en la marcha del orgullo gay marchando cada año, sino que hacemos parte de sus familias, de sus colegas en los trabajos, de las personas que vemos en la calle. No somos seres exóticos, podemos ser sus hermanos, podemos ser sus padres, sus amigos.
And now I'm honored to welcome to the stage the Global Center for Pluralism board member, the Right Honourable Adrienne Clarkson. J'ai l'honneur d'accueillir sur scène la très honorable Adrienne Clarkson, membre du conseil d'administration du Centre mondial du pluralisme. Colombia Diversa, represented by Marcela Sanchez Buitrago, will now be presented with the Global Pluralism Award by Madame Clarkson and Dr. Marwan Mouasher. Colombia Diversa, qui est représentée par Madame Marcela Sanchez Buitrago, se verra maintenant remettre le prix mondial du pluralisme par Madame Clarkson et Monsieur Mouasher.
Okay, I'm very lucky I'm the first. So, respected Minister Annan, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests,
fellow laureates, and everyone joining us today. It's an honor to be here with you. On behalf of Colombia Diversa, its board, and all of our staff, I accept this award with deep gratitude. I would like to thank the Global Center for Pluralism for acknowledging Colombia Diversa's work for a more just and pluralist society. This award is only possible because our team, the LGBTIQ+ people that take part of our proposed dialogues, and those institutions, among them the Canadians, that have firmly believed in our contributions to peace building. Every once in a while, perhaps more than I let on, I ponder the words of the trans man that was victimized during the Colombian armed conflict, whose case Colombia Diversa represents before the Special Jurisdiction for Peace. He told one of the judges that he yearned for the most was the day when those who attacked him would look into his mother's eyes and tell her that he is not a bad thing, that he is good just as he is. That sounds like an extremely difficult conversation. I revisit these words because at its core, our work is exactly about that, about recognizing differences without stripping each other from our humanity. It's not only about noticing that differences exist, it's about understanding how they became unbearable. A justification for violence. It's about understanding how a society has drawn a bright red line separating those worthy of dignity and those who don't deserve it. How queer people are attacked for loving, for the way they dress, for the way they carry their tenderness, for the way they talk about themselves, for the way they live in public spaces. Well, for how we do it, of course. Working towards having dialogues with those who are against our rights has been a long journey for Colombia Diversa. This led us to an understanding. Conversations are more of an end than a means. As some of you might recall, in 2016, Colombia held a referendum in order to approve or reject the final peace accord that had been signed by the Colombian government and the FARC guerrilla. We lost. The public vote rejected the peace accord, and part of the reason why that happened was because religious and conservative groups that were against the peace negotiations misinformed the public by misconstruing the gender focus on the accord. We were still far away from where we want to stand, and that's when we decided that we needed to come closer to those religious leaders who had spread misinformation about the definition and effects of addressing gender issues in our society. That's when the process that is now being awarded started, building bridges in the Pacific coast of Colombia. For 3 years, we facilitated encounters between LGBTIQ people and religious leaders from the Pentecostal and Neo-Pentecostal Church. Those conversations weren't easy nor quick. Those who participated took part in a process full of discomfort. Nevertheless, some LGBTIQ people started dreaming about a future where their spirituality had a proper place in their church, and how they could all have reason to be together instead of letting discrimination get in the way of the many other aspects of their life that they shared, like racism and their mutual need to work on dismantling it. These dialogues gave rise to lessons that now inspire other initiatives to bring together different sectors. For example, conversations between queer victims and former combatants of the FARC guerrilla. Even though they are on the opposite sides of the judicial process, they both work towards building truth, finding recognition, and reparation for victims. I'll share with you some of the lights and shadows that these conversations have had. For me, this has been a road full of doubts, learnings, and finding comfort in halfway places. Colombia is a diverse country when it comes to weather, peoples, natures, and religions. But that diversity, which is evidently positive for some, has been seen multiple times as a threat, or something that even armed actors can be take advantage of. That is why I believe that we must build new ways of being together so so we can be able to create for the first time a society that cherishes everything that we have in common among all the things that tell us apart. Muchas gracias.
I believe we now have a video of our next award recipient, A Land for All.
These are very, very dark times. Really the darkest moments of humanity that we're seeing today unfold in Gaza and in the West Bank. It's very, very difficult.
I am afraid that we are facing, again, ethnic cleansing, displacement, real existential fears of the Palestinian people in Gaza and in the West Bank. It's something that I really cannot process, I cannot handle emotionally, mentally.
The first thing in order to imagine any future in Israel-Palestine is that this destruction and annihilation and starvation needs to end.
A Land for All is a joint Israeli-Palestinian political movement and organization that advocates for ending the occupation and for political solution for the conflict in terms of 2 states and a 1 homeland.
The most unique thing about A Land for All is that our compass is that we do things separately and together. But we realize that in order to craft a viable solution, we have to do this jointly as partners.
We build the institutional format of A Land for All in a very aligned way with the political vision. Everything is shared, everything is equal. We have Palestinians and Israelis, and we care about having equal representation nationally.
For me, working at A Land for All means that I'm fighting for the future of my children and for the future of my people and for the future of my home. And knowing every day that when I talk about my future, I have to talk about Ula's future.
I have to say that I'm surprised from the amount of people who want a change, who are willing to move from their comfort zones and believe that they can reshape their reality in a positive way. And I am surprised from the amount of support around the world.
We're creating an alternative. This movement has grown in the past 2 years, hundreds of people choosing it, wanting to join it, inviting us, talking to us, engaging with us in political imagination workshops, in co-creating this political vision, in deciding and choosing to believe and to take an active part in building an alternative that might get us away from this catastrophic moment. Doing it together with a growing number of Israelis and Palestinians every day with such commitment and such drive, that's what gives me hope.
I'm honored to welcome to the stage the Global Center for Pluralism's board member and former member of the award jury, Rita Roy. J'ai l'honneur d'accueillir sur scène Madame Rita Roy, membre du conseil d'administration du Centre et ancienne jurée du prix. A Land for All, represented by Tabet Abu Ras and Dr. Yael Berda, will now be presented with the Global Pluralism Award by Rita Roy and Dr. Marwan Mouasher. A Land for All, qui est représenté par M. Tabet Abu Ras et Mme Yael Berda, se verra maintenant remettre le prix mondial du pluralisme par Mme Rita Roy et M. Mouasher.
Bonjour à toutes et tous. Thank you. It is a profound honor to stand here today, not as representatives of one people, but as two peoples who share the same homeland. A land for all was born from a painful truth. Forced separation and domination have failed. They have impoverished Palestinians, deepened fear among Israelis, and made both societies less secure. Even total separation behind walls has not brought safety. We must also name the devastating human toll we are living through. The October 7th massacre tore apart Israeli families and communities. In its wake, the ongoing genocide in Gaza has killed tens of thousands, obliterated neighborhoods, and left a whole generation without homes, schools, in the West Bank, ethnic cleansing persists with annexation. These are not parallel tragedies. They are the interconnected consequences of a system built on inequality, control, and the belief that one people can dominate the other.
That system has a logic, a zero-sum game. It tells Israelis and protecting Jewish life means controlling Palestinians. It frames Palestinians' freedom as requiring losses by the Israelis. This logic has brought only horror. Supremacy, whether military, demographic, or territorial, cannot produce peace. The future cannot belong to one people at the expense of the other. True security grows from dignity, equality, and shared responsibility. We know this because when the rights are upheld, violence becomes rare, and when people work and move with security, cooperation flourishes. Our societies are already deeply interdependent, economically, ecologically, and emotionally. Already, our future are a permanent integrated.
Our movement offers a way forward. Two sovereign democratic states, Palestine and Israel, in one shared homeland, joined through a confederation. Two governments, equal rights, and shared freedom of movement. Not separation enforced through domination, but partnership, managed through law, joint security, and respect for each people's self-determination and freedom.
This recognition must be transformative. Palestinians need real sovereignty, not fragmented lands under military control. Israelis need real security through cooperation, not occupation, through joint institutions that protect both peoples equally. This is not symmetry. It's a mutual responsibility grounded in equal rights.
We envision borders as bridges, enabling joint management of shared resources, rebuilding Gaza and the West Bank with dignity, and an economy that reduces the extreme inequalities that make both peoples vulnerable. In this future, no child's safety depends on another child's dispossession.
We accept this award not as a recognition of a dream, but as a call to action. A land for all is a practical roadmap for this urgent moment, for diplomats, for Palestinian political renewal, for regional partners, and for a new security paradigm based on equality, not supremacy.
To those who believe our conflict is inevitable, we say, it is systems that fail, not people. The zero-sum mindset is a choice, not a destiny. We can choose a future in which ending occupation brings safety, sovereignty brings partnership, and pluralism becomes shared ground.
We thank the Global Pluralism Award for honoring those Palestinians and Israelis who refuse dehumanization and insist on dignity for both people. You strengthening a simple truth. The
The only peaceful future is a shared one.
Yeah, we want to say it together.
No
Okay.
way.
We are not.
No way.
No
We
way.
can do this together.
The women power. One more time.
No, you just say it and I'll just go.
Okay. The only peaceful future is a shared one, a land for all, 2 states, 1 homeland.
Tijbel mangesa zorino pamwanga jiska otan zigandi kabisa kamene. Ngombo ya ntabene nali 2015. Ofani wala ni malawiro wapasi kwa mbini mendo wapasi kumandeni malawiro muna chama forum muja na zoma na di apolisi na gane kwa tatu tazoma nao para zanzo zoda longa pia singa kulimbi mbango sama jumbo dewa na munura ukunama sara leso na kuna huko endweni katano ije
at Southern Africa Education Center, we realized that there are so many laws that infringe on the rights of people because of their status. The vagrants laws form part of the 1880 laws of the Vagrants Act of England, which was introduced in the colonial territories, including Malawi and other African countries.
Typically, you would look at people who are drunk and walking home, sex workers, would also get street children being arrested, homeless people, basically poor people that were working at around nighttime or early morning hours.
Nthawi zambiri apolisi akatigwira milandu imene amatiimbira imakhala yokuti ya rogue and vagabond. Inenge utanthauza kuti upezeka pamalo osayenerera kapena kupezeka kumalo ngati guest house malo alendo. Kwa ineyo ndimachiona ngati ndi chinthu choti samandilemekeza inenso ngati nzika ya Malawi.
Initially, they thought that it was normal for them to be arrested by the police and stuff because usually they don't know these things. The word around is that street-connected children are criminals, you know, they steal from people, they commit crimes and things like that. So that's not the case. At the end of the day, they're children. So we let them know that, okay, you're not supposed to be arrested, you're not supposed to be beaten up by anyone, you're not supposed to be placed in a police cell.
He's just an ordinary guy going about his life, you know, trying to make ends meet. It resonated with a lot of people. So I asked him, can I represent you? He said yes. I told him, what you did is not an offense.
When the decision came down, a lot of people heard about it. Everybody now knew you couldn't be locked up for being a rogue and vagabond in most of the circumstances, especially when you're walking or going to your place of trade.
We've also seen the African Court giving an advisory opinion on the repeal of vagrants' offences, decriminalization of poverty, which applies to all African countries that are members to the African Charter as well. But over time, we realized that just going to court is not enough. Just changing the law is not enough. If the community is not fully empowered to bring the change you've made into court into reality, then there's no change at all.
Chifori palizungumza zake zimapeja nthosa ngati ife mwina ababezezo mina bagamuro justice na kuze fori muntu jakwendera gamuro mwamenewo unagwira nzo muno kumaso antina somena alimakonjaso alimaiko konja amene samona ngati zomwezi wale solo mwamene sonara unagwira nawo ejera.
I'm now honored to welcome to the stage Princess Zara Aga Khan. J'ai l'honneur d'accueillir sur scène la princesse Zara Aga Khan. Southern Africa Litigation Center, represented by Annika Mirkoter, will now be presented with the Global Pluralism Award by Princess Zara Aga Khan and Dr. Marwan Mouacher. Le Southern Africa Litigation Center, qui est représenté par Madame Annika Mirkoter, se verra maintenant remettre le prix mondial du pluralisme par la Princesse Zara Aga Khan et Monsieur Mouacher.
Good evening, everyone. Before I start, just a shout out to the IDRC, who funded a lot of the work that was on the video this evening. Minister Anand, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, fellow laureates and friends, thank you so much for this extraordinary honor. Tonight, I want to dedicate this award to the countless forgotten activists who paid the ultimate price for believing in a more pluralistic and humane world. One of them is Kizito Mahigo. Take a note of this name. He's a Rwandan musician, a survivor of the genocide, and a gentle voice for reconciliation. His song, called The Meaning of Death, challenged the official narrative and called for empathy for all who suffered. For that, he was imprisoned, his music was banned, and 5 years ago, he died in police custody. His death was never properly investigated. His fellow inmates called him the Dove, because even in prison, he spread peace and reconciliation. So when you go home tonight, I hope that you'll listen to the song from Kizito Mahigo. It reminds us of the courage, humility, and perseverance that are the true cost of building a pluralistic society. The work you saw in the video tonight is rooted in that same belief. Across our continent, people are still harassed, abused, and criminalized simply because there are sex workers, children living on the streets, informal traders, refugees, people with disabilities, or members of the LGBTIQ community. 77 years after the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, law enforcement remains far too often the wedge between pluralism and subjugation, and that the law remains a tool through which the powerful can decide who is worthy of dignity and who is not. I grew up in apartheid South Africa, where white Christian nationalism shaped the psyche of an entire nation and traumatized that nation. And when Nelson Mandela walked out of prison after 27 years, we proclaimed ourselves a rainbow nation, a vision that was championed by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, of a country where we could all live in peace and equality. But without deep social and economic change, that dream has faded, and our country has become one of the most xenophobic countries on the continent. And our story is not unique. Across the world, the pendulum keeps swinging toward and away from pluralism, toward and away from human rights. We know the catastrophic cost of religious nationalism and exclusion, and still we find ourselves repeating the mistakes of history. But none of this is inevitable. A different future is possible, but only if we are willing to pursue the legal, political, and economic reforms that make pluralism real, not just rhetorical. Receiving the Global Pluralism Award is therefore not only a profound honor for our organization, it's an affirmation of the communities we stand beside. It recognizes their courage in environments where identity and conscience itself is often dangerous. And I'm humbled to join all of you who here tonight who work every single day to make pluralism a lived reality. The past year has made that work harder and even more essential. And yet we continue to see hope. We see young people across continents, across the globe, standing up, demanding accountability, gender equality, environmental justice. We see Indigenous leaders, people with disabilities, LGBTI communities, and those displaced by conflict insisting on their right to belong. For them, pluralism is not just an ideal, it's about survival. Archbishop Tutu reminded us when he said this, "My humanity is bound up in yours, for we can only be human together." We are different so that we know our need for one another. And with that, I want to thank you very much.
Annika, thank you. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are your 2025 Global Pluralism Award winners. Félicitations. Let's give them a round of applause. Please be seated. Dr. Marwan Washer will now make closing remarks. Monsieur Marwan Washer prononcera maintenant le mot de la fin.
Your Excellency, Minister Anand, Excellencies, staff and board of the Global Center for Pluralism, distinguished guests, honourable laureates. This is the second time I've had the honor of closing the Global Pluralism Awards. And once again, I'm incredibly moved by the remarkable stories of courage, humility, persistence, and the belief that at our core, each human being deserves to belong. I come from a region that is deeply troubled. Along with my prestigious fellow members of the jury, we have seen these challenges up close in our work, and we are unanimous in our admiration of the organizations recognized here tonight, and continue to be inspired by their examples that people, even with radically different identities, histories, and trauma, can live together without erasing one another. I'm reminded of someone who told me once, if you and I are alike in every way, one of us is irrelevant. In a time when no nation or community, where no one feels immune to threats to human rights and security, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and disheartened. It can sometimes feel hopeless, as if there is nothing a person can do, and some may feel tempted to give up. And yet, in the videos and speeches we have seen and heard this evening, this year's laureates are operating in the most difficult contexts of our time to end cycles of violence and hatred. They continue to put in Herculean efforts for change, despite risks to themselves, finding the smallest windows of opportunity and making sure the light still comes in. Not only do they take advantage of limited opportunities to drive forward their work, but they impressed us with their ability to bring about real change. If they have not given up, how can we? The 10 laureates in front of you this evening have pushed the boundaries for belonging and inclusion, forged partnerships with governments to expand the impact of their work, advocated in global forums to galvanize support, and created partnerships and networks. sometimes with unexpected allies, to build the momentum of their work. Their achievements illustrate the power of collective action in the fight for a more pluralistic world. Those honored here join not only the 40 laureates who come before them, but all of us here tonight who took away from our responsibilities and families to celebrate their hard work and to stand in solidarity with these pluralist leaders. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to my esteemed colleagues on the jury for their commitment and wisdom, to the Global Center for Pluralism for facilitating this crucial opportunity to once again recognize leaders in this space. And so thank you all for joining us this evening to celebrate the exceptional recipients of the 2025 Global Pluralism Award and embark on this global movement of pluralism together with the laureates, the jury, and we hope all of you watching tonight. Thank you very much.
Dr. Musher, thank you. Merci. I saw the photographer hard at work earlier during that beautiful and heartwarming standing ovation, but for one final group photo, I'd like to now invite all the recipients to stand. J'invite maintenant tous les lauréats à se lever pour prendre une photo de groupe. Wonderful. And now please remain seated for the departure of Princess Zahra Aga Khan, Dr. Marwan Mouasher, and Ms. Meredith Preston McGee. Je vous prie de demeurer assis pour le départ de la Princesse Zahra Aga Khan, de Monsieur Marwan Mouasher et de Madame Meredith Preston McGee. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings this evening to a close. Thank you very much for being with us. We invite you to enjoy the exhibit in the library featuring original photography of the award laureates, and we hope you will join us for future events. You can sit if you want. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres ce soir. Nous vous invitons à visiter l'exposition présentée dans la bibliothèque qui présente des photographies originales des lauréats. Nous espérons que vous vous joindrez à nous lors des prochains événements. À tous et à toutes, bonne soirée. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Congratulations.